Hello. Welcome to another garden update. This one's for July. Here you'll see my empty lettuce box. But nothing in it. We pulled out all the shitty lettuce and I don't know what we're doing with it now. This is a money tree. My mom got this for us for our anniversary and it's actually grown like crazy. Just like our equity. Yeah. Here's the tiny Tom with actually the tiniest Tom yet. Look at this guy. We've been making jokes about how this is the rat's tomato plant. We got 3 tomatoes off this that were edible. We ate one. We're saving another for seed because Courtney thinks it's so cute. My dogs ate the last one, those bastards. They ripped it off this tiny plant. Can you believe it? I can believe it. Check out these eggplants. They're finally doing something. We got 3 nice eggplants. We grew those from seed. Exciting stuff. Since it's hotter and it's now July, our hydrangeas are starting to shit the bed. Check it out, it's the daylilies. This is why we actually grow them, because they flower and they look nice. Some of these are peach. The peach something. I don't know. Peach daylily. I don't really remember what kind of tomato this is, but it's a kind of a slow grower, but it is growing some tomatoes, which is nice. And then the sugar rush pepper is finally like almost sort of starting to grow. In this area we've got 3 heads of romaine lettuce left. I think I got food poisoning from the dog shitting on this, but you can see this one is growing so much that it's almost about to flower. So if we let that go much longer, it'll bolt and it won't taste any good at all. Courtney replanted something here and I couldn't tell you what it is. Some of the dill actually grew, and God bless this dill, I made pickles with it. I stepped on this dill when it was 2 inches tall, and yet here it is growing. That's the miracle of the garden. All right, everything I told you about these tomatoes was almost wrong. Actually, only one thing was wrong. This is not a mortgage lifter. I thought these were both mortgage lifters. This is, I think, called like 1,000 tomatoes, which is a hilarious name for a plant. But you can see this is more of a cherry tomato. Look at how it grows. You can see this is where it will grow some more tomatoes. Typically cherry tomatoes grow in these runs. And if you look down here, so it's growing cherry tomatoes, not mortgage lifters. This will not do anything for your mortgage. But this is a mortgage lifter, as it is labeled. And it's not really doing anything too much yet. In the front ground, our hot peppers are doing well. These are jalapenos. You can see that we've got a couple, actually quite a few little guys there, and those should mature over time. We've gotten 1 jalapeno thus far, and it came from a different plant, much smaller one. This whole section of the garden should look completely different, and that's because we harvested 94 heads of garlic. That's right, 94 heads of garlic. And now we're doing succession planting. These are miniature pumpkins. And you can see we actually sowed them directly into the mounds. We got 1 pumpkin there, tiny pumpkin here. This guy hasn't done anything. But the tiny pumpkins are really fun. There's some seeds we saved from previous years. They're like, they fit in the palm of your hand. Some of them are white and they make for fun Halloween party favors. Like here, have this small pumpkin. Blueberries, they developed green berries and they never ripened and now they're gone. So that was disappointing. Not really sure what happened there. We'll talk more about garlic later. You can see some of the marigolds that we planted everywhere, by we I mean Courtney, are now flowering. So now they're less useless. This whole area, I think they're called teddy bear sunflowers. So they're a miniature version of sunflowers. And we sowed them inside, got the seedlings going, and they've been growing like crazy. So pretty soon these will shoot up, but because they're teddy bears, I think they should be no higher than the chain link fence. And they're smaller flowers too, so they'll be super cute. Our ground cherry is truly a ground cherry, and it's actually starting to like just produce a shitload of things. Here's one that's mature. This is what it looks like. I gotta set my drink down in order to actually show you this. So obviously you should wash things, but you know, it has a handy pouch. So that's our ground cherry. You can see that it's actually ripe because I can squeeze on it. It tastes good. It's a really weird taste. There's nothing like it. Roses, just about done. There's this tiny little bit hanging on. And then we've got our blackberry. This plant is the most ridiculous plant I think we've ever had. And I'm continually trying to train it to grow up on top of the roof. We're almost there. But you can see that we've got tons and tons of berries. We're actually not getting to enjoy too many of them because someone or something is preying upon them. But look at these, there's just shitloads of them. Totally insane plant. And then back here we have our overcrowded squash, which it's got a few you know, little baby squashes, but this thing is, it's just, there's too much competition in here. Probably should have just kept one in there. I don't think this was in any of the previous updates. This was an office plant, which has a disease. It has a white powder disease that we can't seem to kick, which is a total pain. That's why it looks kind of f***y in the back. But this plant is older than I am. This jade tree is 40 years old. Actually, probably older than that. So I feel bad that it has a disease, but it's my office's fault because it didn't have a disease until I took it into the office. Now I don't go in the office, no problem. All right, welcome to Pickle Production. You can see no more marigolds here, but we do have the moonflowers. Almost all of this plant is a single plant. So there's actually 3 different cucumbers here, but really it's this one on the left that is like, it's all this, it's all that. And we've gotten a ton of cucumbers already. Here's one right now. Probably just go ahead and pick this. And this cucumber does have spines, but you can remove them just by running the side of your thumb on it. That's a good pickling size. It'll make nice pickles. We probably got more than a dozen of these already. I made a giant, like half gallon of quick pickles, which we're eating, and I still got more I need to pickle. It's a good problem to have. And pickles are sneaky too, because they got these broad leaves, so you poke around in here and sometimes you'll just find a giant pickle that you're like, well, how the hell did that get? Here's our green bean box, which is just insane, actually. I'll start with the middle section, which you can barely even see. These are just like conventional bush bean, and these are actually what I've been eating recently. So they make these nice, regular old green beans. They're delicious, they're super tender. But these plants survived the frost. And of the things in here, that was like the only thing alive at the time. So we didn't think they'd do anything. In the front, we have dragon beans, which you can see here. They have this pink color pattern, and that whole thing goes away when you cook them. So it's pink and then turns green. So this thing is just starting to put out beans. And then back here, so here are our purple bean vines. You can see that they've crisscrossed a ton, and we're almost all the way to the top. But probably more interesting is that the pole of these beans towards each other have actually moved the poles closer together at the top, and these lines have become increasingly slack. That's been very neat. This is our second area of lettuce, which is less picked over, and you can see these are getting really leggy and weird. But these are new leaves, they're probably still good to eat. I've actually been eating a little bit of the chard. I've just been sauteing it. It's very tasty. It's just kind of a bitter green. It's good. Wild garlic's done. A couple of tomatoes in buckets. This one is the same as the middle one over there. So this is the 1000 tomato. And you can see that like, this thing is literally loaded with tomatoes. This is crazy. Here's parsley. And I don't know if this is mint. That's mint. Okay, that is mint. So we have several peppers in here that I don't really know what they all are. Look at these weird purple peppers. I don't know, they just have very dark leaves. You can see back here, this is a jalapeno. It actually just popped off, so I just put that in my pocket. Our pink celery is actually doing pretty good. It's a little crowded, as is tradition. And then we have our Hungarian heart tomatoes, which you can see already. We've got some very nice specimens growing, and they're oddly shaped. But if you can get a good shot of it, there is a behemoth tomato in here. Look at this big boy. That thing's as big as my fist. It's bigger than my fist. So I'm excited for that. Next to it, we have a tie-dye tomato. And you've got an easy specimen to see here. You can see the striation. And then when that actually ripens, I think it'll be red and yellow in those funky stripes. But lots of tomatoes on this as well. It's very exciting. And then these peps over here are doing really good too. No fruit yet, but they typically come later in the season. Really the only thing I have left to show you is the canna plants, and they're very pretty. And typically for these kind of tropical plants, you gotta dig up the tubers or whatever. But because they're planted so close to the house keeps them warm, so we don't have to do that. But they're fun, and I guess that's it. It's like, well, it's not it, because we gotta go inside. We'll talk about garlic. But that's the end of the tour for now. Let's go inside. This is where we go inside. All right, I finished processing my garlic today. Let's go down in the basement and grab the last one. So I had all my garlics drying up here on a string for about 2 weeks. And over that time, the paper layers form. So let's go ahead and get these guys down. This was actually the test garlic, this big one here, for when I pulled it up to see if they were done or not. All right, so let me show you how I clean up the garlic. Right here, this is actually a couple heads, and I'll end up dealing with the others later, but I'll use the big one to show you. So it hung to dry for 2 weeks. You can see the stalks fully fully dry now. It's just a tiny bit of green on there, but that's fine. So the way I do it is I trim the stem about an inch from the top, maybe a little bit more. The more dramatic of the stem that you leave on, I think the more artisanal it looks, which is fun. And then for the roots, I come around the outside just to kind of trim them up. I think it's good to leave a little bit of the roots. I don't know why, but it is. And then if there's a very loose paper layer, I'll take off the top layer. Even though you're not really supposed to remove any layers, the more layers you leave on there, the longer it'll last. But I never really have that many problems with using up all the garlic that we grow before it goes bad. I've never had garlic go bad that we grew. But I've also never had almost 100 heads of garlic. So you can see already it looks a lot cleaner. And then I take a stiff bristle brush around the roots, and this just kind of removes any kind of like dirt. Most of the dirt that was just hanging out there. Gives you a real professional look on that garlic. And you can see there, you've got a very nice head of garlic, which we'll put with the rest here in this giant basket of garlic. What a dream. I could literally make it rain garlic on somebody. And we've got some damaged ones too, but we're using those tonight. So that's it, really. Here's some miscellaneous things from the garlic. Here's some blackberries. We picked these prematurely to see how they would ripen. Apparently it's not that great. Some more ground cherries, tomato, half a pepper that I ate. Oh yeah, this is one of the best times of the year. Everything is exploding with food and I gotta give it away because it's too much food. It's a great hobby. I enjoy gardening. Thanks for watching. More garden updates to come.